Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Hi.
Hey.
We have a special guest.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, Nadia, why don't you tell
Lucy.
everybody about our guest?
This is Lucy. She just graduated from Northeastern. We went on dialogue, as I think I've talked about my dialogue a few times on the podcast, but we went on dialogue together last summer in Spain, and we met like maybe a couple weeks before the dialogue, and we've been friends ever since. And she's been wanting to be on the podcast.
Okay, let's back up a little bit just so that the listeners understand. First of all, this is Lucy. And if you're listening, that might be confusing if you're not watching but just listening, because
Right.
Lucy's also the name of Nadia's sister. And so this is a different Lucy. What's your last name, Lucy?
Lucy with a Y. I'm Lucy Shepherd.
Yeah.
Lucy Shepherd. And the word dialogue, like everybody pretty much knows what study abroad means, but people don't know what dialogue is, which is short for what?
Dialogue of Civilizations. So it's a summer study abroad program. It's about 5 to 6 weeks.
How long were we there? 6 weeks?
We were there 5 to 6 weeks.
Well, some of them are a little bit shorter, but ours was we both have a minor in Spanish, and this dialogue was specifically for people who had Spanish minors, which is why I think I've talked about my dialogue on here, because the entire time we were there, we spoke in Spanish.
Should we do this interview in Spanish?
Nope. I know you guys would be able to speak, but I can't formulate sentences anymore.
I'm more articulated in English anyway, so for the sake of a good conversation, English would probably be better.
Although I don't know if I had to, but during our dialogue, there was an option for a project that was a podcast. Wasn't there?
I did a narrative video.
I also did, because I copied her and also did a narrative video.
And we did a lot of projects together.
Yeah, we were partners like throughout the whole time, which thank God, because she carried. So.
Okay, so speaking of carrying, I mean, I know you guys are probably both good students, but I'm excited actually to hear a little bit about Lucy's like before college, because Nadia was super excited to make new friends at dialogue on her dialogue in Spain. And she started talking about this girl, Lucy, who speaks Spanish like pretty comfortably, because I was asking her, like, Nadia, do you speak Spanish as well as the other people on your program? And she's like, well, I feel like I'm kind of in between. And this girl, Lucy, speaks pretty well because she's lived in a bunch of different places, some of which were Spanish speaking. So can you give us a brief history, Lucy?
Of course. So I was born in Maryland, actually, which is very random in my opinion. I never hear much about Maryland. I lived there for my first 3 years. My parents were working in DC at the time. And then my dad got a random job assignment in Ecuador. And so we packed up our lives and moved there when I was 3 and my sister was 5. We lived there for 3.5 years, and my parents' plan was kind of to go back to the US after that. It was supposed to be kind of a one-time thing. And then I think what happened was my dad switched companies, switched jobs, because he found an assignment in Lima, Peru. And I guess because they decided that it was a really fun life living abroad, they extended it. So he took the job. And we moved there, and we lived there for a while as well. We lived there for 5.5 years. So by this time, I was about 12. And my dad, within that same company, got another job assignment in Johannesburg, South Africa. So that's where I lived my last 7 years of childhood, from 12 to 18. And it was fantastic. I loved my life. And then I came to Boston for college.
That's so cool. Like, to be honest, that was my dream for the girls, is that they would that they could live in all these different places growing up.
Yeah.
But okay, I have so many questions about all of that. I feel like we could do an episode on just that. But the purpose of this part of our series right now is to talk about like what's going on in your life right now and like how college was and like what you're doing, moving on from college. So after like, Ecuador and Peru and South Africa, you decided to go to college, decided to like spend thousands and thousands of dollars and come back to the United States for a
Yeah.
less interesting, more expensive life. How did you end up at Northeastern?
Yeah, that is one way to put it for sure. Basically, my why Northeastern, just to put it out there, was I applied to a bunch of different places around the country and even looked at colleges in Canada, in France. I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to go to the US, but I mean, it is a great education system and college life is pretty top tier here. I can say that with confidence before and after university. So I knew that I would definitely apply to a bunch here. And so I applied to a bunch of UCs, which I'm sure you guys are really familiar with. I got into Santa Cruz. I think I got waitlisted from Santa Barbara. I really was considering Santa Cruz in the end, and I was between Santa Cruz and I was between Boston, essentially. BU and Northeastern and Santa Cruz. Those were
That's
my
crazy.
last three. My dad went to Santa Cruz. My mom is kind of from Boston/Massachusetts. So I was kind of torn up on which coast I wanted to live on because I knew it would be a good idea to be by some family. And then I was like, no, I want to be in a city. I'm such a city person. I love cities so much. I didn't really live in huge, like, metropolitan areas growing up, at least not to the scope of like Boston, New York, Chicago. So it came down to Boston. Northeastern gave me more money and had a cool co-op program, whatever that was. I didn't even know.
Same.
So I was just like, let's go.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's like, I didn't know you were between Santa Cruz because that's what Lucy, my sister, is also between.
Sounds like
Santa
we're
Cruz.
the same then.
And for context, she does have family in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Which is why she was thinking about Santa Cruz.
Exactly, yes.
I see. Okay. So, oh my gosh, I keep wanting to go back to like
She's gonna keep
other
asking
things. So like I want to know about like
Ask
childhood.
me
Okay.
anything.
One more question that's not to do with like what's happening next. Do you feel American or do you feel like something else? Like,
That
yeah.
is such a good question. I really appreciate that question because I think it encapsulates a lot of identity struggle I had growing up, frankly speaking. It's so weird because I always knew I was American. Like, I will never not say I'm American. I never have claimed any other identity. But to be 7 years old and living the most important years of your life already, being like, oh, I'm fully immersed in this other country. Like, what do you mean I'm American? Like, it's so weird. And growing up, we would go back every summer to visit our family in the US. And it like felt different. Like, it felt like vacation because it was so different. And not that necessarily my values were different to theirs or like the way I spoke was necessarily different, but it was just like I felt like my life situation was just so vastly different that like how are we at the end of the day the same in being American, you know? And I think that's something beautiful about this country is like not to get political here, but like that's something that's so great is like people can be so different and still claim this identity and that's a good thing. But more so as a kid, it's like
confusing.
It's just like I go back to this place for 2 months of the year and I'm claiming it. Like it's so weird. It's so weird. And now I'm much more comfortable, like, understanding it. But back then, it's just so, it's such a struggle. It's like, I mean, it would have been even worse if, like, one parent was American and one parent was from, I don't know, a different country, because then I would be like, what am I?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of like my, like, situation on, like, feeling American. I will never feel 100% American. I had too much difference to, like, ignore
Yeah.
in the best way possible, right? And also in the most not pretentious way possible. Like, it was incredible experience that I just, like, I feel like claiming Americanness just, like, totally erases, and that just, like, doesn't feel fair for me,
Yeah.
if that
I
makes any sense.
love the way that you put that. Ah, if I could live another
She's like,
version of my
she's
life, it
wishing
would be
that
yours.
this was her life right now.
But Nadia, when I met Nadia, she would tell me a lot about you and how both you and her dad, like, you guys would go traveling a lot. And I could sense that, like, you had that interest in, maybe you even told me this, like,
Yeah.
you know, my mom wants us to, like, experience all these different things. Like, this is why we speak Spanish. This is why we do this.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you're not even that much different. Like, you know so much. Like, even if you didn't necessarily live abroad your whole life, like, you've had so much life experience as well that I, like, respect heavily, because, like, you have made such an effort to, like, expose or immerse your daughters in this outside bubble.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like California can be kind of a bubble sometimes.
Oh yeah, totally.
But yeah, I mean, it's so
Look
interesting
at
how
her
much you
face.
guys have
She's
traveled.
she's just so happy right now.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy that you lived this life, Lucy. And I'm so happy because, I mean, like, I'm smiling because I'm like, oh my God, I have like a gazillion other questions, but let's get back to the task at hand. Now that you have graduated, congratulations. What was it that you studied at Northeastern, and what do you plan on doing next?
Yeah. I'll start with first saying I came into Northeastern undeclared. I had no idea what I wanted to do because I, like many other people, just didn't grow up being like, oh, I want to be a doctor. Every year, every month, it felt like something different was catching my eye. And I just, like, couldn't really nail down, okay, what is it that I like about these things that could be an achievable first step? You know, like I can't even think of an example, but it's like, you know, people who really care about the environment, okay, I should go into some sort of STEM discipline. Or people who really like analyzing things and, like, calculating things, okay, like, maybe I go into data science or math or something. I never had that. I just I enjoyed biology a lot, but never felt driven by the idea of, like, pursuing that in college. I knew I liked reading and analyzing things in my literature class, but, like, didn't feel like that was something that, like, would be, you know, appealing necessarily. And I mean, I loved learning about the world, bottom line, but then I was like, I don't wanna, like, do international relations like that. I don't wanna do policy work. It's too messy and it's too challenging to think about how much people are suffering at my, like, jurisdiction, essentially. So I just, like, even so I say those as examples, like, even things that I liked, I couldn't, like, make something with it. So I came in undeclared, studied, you know, a few different things through, like, different classes. I did economics class, I did an English class, I did environmental science class, and I did a communications class. Because those were the four things that I was like, these are four possible routes. And then I kind of realized, okay, I actually, like, do really like to read, and do really like writing and being creative in that way. As much as I loved econ and loved environmental science and sustainability, I think that the prospect of doing math totally turned me off of those two.
Yeah.
So I pursued an English major with the hopes of getting into the publishing field. I very quickly learned my love of editing, and that's kind of where I'm headed. I'm hoping to be an editor one day at a newspaper, a magazine, something of that sort. It's really exciting to like think of the prospect of like reading all this stuff and like fine-tuning it and learning so much about different things by just being like an editor somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I
Yeah.
got a communications minor as well and a Spanish minor.
Lots of language.
Yeah, that was my like long-winded journey to graduation 2026.
I mean, I think it's great to like go all the different routes and kind of, you know, make sure that you don't like those other things before you zero in on something.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you as you were talking, like, what do you think the role of an editor is? But I think you answered that. If you have more of that answer, if there's more to that answer, let me know. But I think you think that the role of the editor is to read something and before reading it, like learn a lot about it so that you can make sure that whatever is communicated about that thing is clear and then cleaning it up. Like, what is the role of the editor?
Yeah, but even more so, something that is so crucial about an editor is knowing other people. You need to know your audience really well, and you need to know your author or writer really well. The job of the editor is not to fine tune and edit to the extent where the author's voice is completely lost. And in a world of AI slop, like that is the scariest part, is like people are writing things with AI, which I'm not saying is, I won't say it's a bad thing. It's like a very interesting technological innovation. But like that's what's so great about the publishing field is that we can get so many different perspectives. And so I think that's why I want to be an editor so bad, is because living abroad, I met so many people and like learned so many things that like no one knows about because no one is talking about. And why is nobody talking about these people and these experiences and these kids and these communities that are just as important as me, this white girl from the US who like has all these stories about her.
Yeah.
I think that's like, especially in like children's literature, like to have that realization of as a kid being like, oh, I'm going to dress up as Junie B. Jones or like Caroline or like all those like little girls in books. And then like other voices are just like, or other kids are just like not even shown that similar mirroring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beyond just children's literature though. That's my why of an editor and what I would be like as an editor, at least.
You want to bring out the voices and the perspectives of kind of the people that aren't heard as often.
Bring out, yeah, in a way. I can't ever say that, like, because I don't want any credit for it. I just want to
Like support
echo
that process
somehow. Yeah.
That's so cool.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm going to
We'll
have to, you're going to have Nadia share with you this recent, like, person I started following on social media, because during AAPI Month, which was Asian American Pacific Islander Month, which was last month, he was trying to bring out stories of the Pacific Islanders. Because when we talk about AAPI Month, often like Asian and specifically East Asian voices and histories and stuff are brought out more. And so he was pointing out like lots of different stories and the history of various Pacific Island peoples, countries, cultures. And it was so fascinating. And I was like, wow, like a lot of these countries I didn't know existed, these cultures I didn't know existed. And I mean, obviously I know the effects of colonialism in general, but like to hear about the effects of colonialism on these particular Polynesian cultures or Pacific Island cultures was really fascinating. And also extra fascinating was to acknowledge that I was never taught that history, like it was never exposed to me.
Yeah.
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 I'll have
That
to
sounds
share.
incredible. I mean, and that's like the ideal situation is someone is echoing the voices of their own community. Which I wish I could, I wish that was my case, but I got to do something with this privilege, I guess.
But you have like such a unique perspective that I feel like will be well received, and also I hope to see you in that field as well.
Yeah.
I think it'd be so
So what are you doing to get there?
Trigger warning.
Uh-oh.
Oh my God. This is a really rough time for anyone who has just graduated and is trying to find a job. This is the worst situation I have found myself in. But it's only been, 2 months? I can chill, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yes.
I'm applying to jobs. Obviously, my dream is publishing, but I have other passions. I'm very interested in PR and marketing as well. So I might delve into that instead. I'm really kind of taking this opportunity to be super open, because that's the most common advice I've gotten is just take what life throws at you. Just don't get too set on one thing.
Yeah.
I'm excited no matter what. And I think that's the most important thing I have to keep reminding myself of. Ultimately, in 2 months' time, I will have a job and I will be happy because I have a job, no matter what I'll be doing. I love working and I love writing and I love doing those sorts of skills that I've built up in the past 4 years. So I know I'm going to be happy no matter what.
Well, yeah. And I think that even if the right full-time job doesn't come your way right now, I'm sure you'll find creative ways
100%.
to pursue that interest until you build up enough experience and someone sees your work and sees your writing and sees your passion and takes
100%.
you on. As an example, there is a new graduate working for On the Move Physical Therapy, my physical therapy clinic. She wants to be a physical therapist and she's going to be applying soon. But in the meantime, she's helping me with my marketing stuff, right? And I'm a small business and I can't afford to pay her full time. There's not enough work for her to be working full time anyway. So she's actually pursuing a master's while she's trying to build up her resume to apply to physical therapy school, and working for On the Move, my clinic, for 10 hours a week. And she gets to work on her writing skills a little bit. She was actually a business and marketing, I think it was, minor, And so you could be doing something one way that's paying your bills, and then also this little side gig that gets you kind of working your writing skills, PR skills. If I didn't already have somebody, I'd take you on.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good advice all throughout life. Even if you're not doing, always have a hobby or passion to do on the side. That really seems to get me through the day.
So do you have a timeline? The other question I had for you is where's your sister and your mom and dad right now? Do you have to move there? Are you all on your own on your Boston Island while family's everywhere else? What's going on with your location?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I am and have always been a pretty independent person. So I do live in Boston on my own. My closest family is around Boston and then on Cape Cod. But my parents are living in Turkey now. They moved there after I graduated high school for my dad's next position. TBD how long they'll be there, but so they've been there for over 3 years now, I think. And it'll be 3 years this month. It'll be 4 years this month.
Wow.
And then my sister lives in California, NorCal, Berkeley area. So, yeah, I love it. I think my plan and my timeline, like you asked, is I'm living on my lease here, working retail for the summer while I job search. My lease ends end of August. So I'll be out of here by then, no matter what. Will my stuff go into a storage unit or will my stuff go into my new apartment for my new job? We will find out hopefully in the next month or so.
Yeah.
So if it goes into a storage unit, then where do you go? California or Turkey?
And then I will go visit my parents until I find a job. But it won't get to that. It will not get to that.
No.
First,
That's so interesting the way that you say it. Visit my parents. I feel like the way Nadia would say it if she was going home would be, well, I have in my head what she might say. But what would you say if you were like moving home?
If I was moving home?
Or I already said the words, but like
well, no, it's true. Like I would say I was going back home.
Yeah.
I mean, for summers, like I'd say I'm visiting, but if I'd say I was moving back home. I mean, we've lived in the same place.
Yeah. Take that with a grain of salt, what I just said, though. Like, it switches every time. Like, I'll be like, I'm going to go back with my parents for a bit, or I'm going to go home with my parents. Like, it changes every time.
You say it.
that is the feeling of it. Like, it feels so temporary that, like, it's only home because my parents live there. I have no attachment whatsoever to that place. I love it. Istanbul is great. You should visit. But it's so fleeting.
Yeah.
And I know my parents will leave in the next year. Like, so it might. Yeah.
What's your favorite place? I guess that I've asked all the questions. Nadia, do you have any questions for Lucy?
Nadia knows everything about
I know everything. I want you to ask. I feel like you'd have a lot of questions, and I know you want to go back
2 hours more of questions, but some of them will take offline maybe. But where is your favorite place that you have lived? I'm sure someone's asked you this question in the past.
Someone asked me this today. I will say, which is exactly what I said earlier today when I got asked this. Peru is an incredible country, and I feel like it is not talked about enough. Yes, people know Machu Picchu, of course, but like everything outside of that is so incredible. Like, even as a kid, I understood like how incredible this country was. There's beaches, there's like a whole coastline, and sand dunes, and ancient ruins in the sand dunes. There is then mountains, the Andes Mountains, incredible hikes, incredible views, incredible people living in the middle of nowhere on the side of a cliff. And then you get into jungle, just vast, vast jungle, scary, terrifying animals, like not uncontacted tribes, but like remote locations where people are just left alone to thrive.
Yeah.
And just, beautiful scenery, beautiful people, and really, really good food. So I would say that is my favorite country. I loved South Africa, though, but there's bias there because I was older and have more friends from there. So I have more emotion attached to South Africa, but it was limiting. I had no freedom there. Like, not that I was living in like Saudi, but it was like I didn't have my driver's license. I couldn't really go anywhere alone at night. I lived in an estate. I lived in a bubble. And yes, it's like a beautiful country and the people are great, but like it was pretty limiting. It was a great experience, but if I could go back anywhere, it'd be Peru easily.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
So incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I should go back to have the last question be something that's related to what the whole point of this series of interviews are. And that is, and maybe you don't have an answer for this, But if you could get a job for any kind of editing job for any like publication or whatever, what would it be? What would your dream publication be?
That's such a hard question because I don't know. Like, I know that this is something I'm pretty confident I would enjoy, but ultimately, I am so young and I don't know what my life will become yet. I'm getting glimpses from like things I enjoy, but like in the next 5 to 10 years is where I truly will understand what I enjoy and what I'm good at, and that will be my career. But for the sake of answering your question, I'd probably say, I won't like name names, but like something that is probably a magazine, like Time magazine or something. I just named names, but Time magazine, something that is like creative and
Historical.
textual.
Yeah.
Like there's like to like Cosmo and stuff would be fun as well. But yeah, something that combines like graphic and creative and things like that along with writing, as opposed to like a more traditional imprint newspaper.
I love it. Well, I love that you also named names because maybe they'll listen to this podcast and go like, "You're
Yeah,
hired,
someone
Lucy
wants
Shepard."
me.
We'll send it over.
Yeah, my
We should
resume will
tag
be right here. Someone wants it.
Okay, well, it was really, really nice talking to you,
Oh my
and
god.
it's been like longer than a normal amount of time now, so we're gonna get off. But listeners out there, I don't mean to make you jealous, but I have more questions for Lucy, and I'm gonna be asking them offline.
It's been a long time coming, but we're so glad that Lucy Shepard finally
This was
got on the
so fun.
podcast.
I can't even believe it.
Sorry it's so hot and it's very hot in my room right now.
We look normal
But,
though, right?
yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
a little glossy.
Maybe sun-kissed and sweaty,
Please.
but that's okay.
Yeah.
But bye, everybody.
Hi,
Thank
everybody.
you so much.